Ernest to chat a little more.
Yeah, I'm going to try to keep this as simple and quick as possible. I generally, in the past with these trainings, we've left the Forest Service office inside or lobby gathering area and walked out back to the tool shed, and we're able to all gather around the tool shed and handle the tools and look at them and explain exactly what they look like and which is the sharp end and which is the sharper end, because both ends are usually sharp, and figure out what they're used for in the best way. So the best way I'm coming up with this right now real quick is just to go through a few pictures of the main tools that you'll be using out on the trail. And you don't have to remember all these. It's a quick little introduction to them. So when you actually go out as a new team with the ranger will give you a rundown in the parking lot with the tools in your hand on what each are again, and understanding what each is used for, because they each have specific uses. So start off with a quick number one here. This would be a pickmatic. First and most important thing about a pickmatic is this head. If you can see my cursor, there's a pointy end and there's a sharper, flatter end. That entire head moves up and down this handle. So that head moves, and don't let it surprise you. And that's why when you're out with your ranger's going to show you not to lift the tool above your waist. You really don't need to. There's no swinging overhead. With a pickmatic, you swing overhead, that head may fall down and hit you in the head. So we want to make sure that that pickmatic is staying low and staying below your waist, because that does move. It's great that they move for walking out on the trail, because you can take the head off, put it in your backpack, and then also put the handle in your backpack or hold it, and it makes it a lot easier to move around and out on the trail with. The main use of the pickmatic, it's an all-in great workhorse tool. It's heavier than all the other tools. It works very well on rocks, which is important on a lot of the trails up valley and on Forest Service land. Pickmatic might not be the best tool in Eagle, where it's generally gypsum moon dust, and you don't need that heavy of a tool out there. But it's great to work with rocks. It's like I said, it's a workhorse. It's solid. It gets the job done in those harder trails, if you will. So that's the pickmatic. I'm going to move on to the next one. And again, you can ask questions anywhere as I'm going along, and we'll come back to them. And Kat or Paula or Michelle, feel free to jump in if I miss anything on the tools as well. So the next one you see is the good old shovel. Everyone's got one in their backyard, in their garage, porch, whatever it is. But we don't quite use them the same way as we do on the trail. A shovel on the trail is for moving loose dirt. It's for creating piles of dirt. It's for throwing dirt off the trail, dispersing it from the trail. We're generally not digging on the trail with a shovel. So if you're in your backyard, you're usually stepping on the head and digging into the ground and pulling up a hole to plant your garden or flowers or whatever it is. But on the trail, it's a form of moving dirt that was created by a pickaxe or by a Pulaski or another digging tool. The shovel is not a digging tool out on trails generally. So it's not efficient. You'd be spending a lot of energy trying to use it to dig on the trail. I think that's all with the shovel. Next, we have the McLeod. McLeod is also generally not a digging tool. So you have the kind of the pointy end, if you will, or the rake end, and that's great for, again, after a pickmatic or a Pulaski or another digging tool digs the back slope of a trail or is digging the outslope or whatever it may be. The McLeod comes in and you rake all of that dirt and rocks into a pile, and the shovel then is able to take that dirt and throw it off the trail. The McLeod is also a great tamping tool. So it's flat on the bottom side of this head. And the tamping tool is for packing down the trail. So if you created a drainage structure and there's a bunch of loose dirt in there, you want to take the McLeod and stand it upright and just pack that dirt down with a flat head. But again, it's not a digging tool, it's a raking tool, and it's a tamping or packing tool. Next, we have the good old trusty silky saw. We have a bunch of these in the Adopt-A-Trail sheds, and I would say only if you're comfortable with that type of saw that you take it. It's small, it still can be dangerous. We're not cutting out big trees or anything like that by any means. It's for small little projects that you feel comfortable with using that outside of what loppers would use, which is kind of the same tool, if you will. So that's silky saw. They're small, they fit in the backpack really well. So here's the Pulaski. This is probably one that everyone's seen. It's what firefighters or wildland firefighters love to use. They're shorter, they're a little quicker. The sharp end is great for cutting roots or anything in the trail like that. And the flatter but still sharp end is a digging end. And it's more or less kind of the same as the Pickmatic, which I showed in the first picture. But it's a little narrower, but it still works very well for digging up backslope or the outslope, and also creating new trails and creating drainage structures. So the Pulaski is another digging tool option in addition to the Pickmatic. It's lighter than the Pickmatic, but in my opinion, it's not as efficient as a Pickmatic. So it's a trade-off. You want the heavier or the lighter, and which way you go from that standpoint. Next, these are kind of a newer special tool that we have a small amount in each of the sheds. This is created by a company called Rogue, and they call it their Rogue Proho. And it looks a lot like a McLeod, but it's much more versatile. So you still have the raking end, still have the flat bottom of it to pack trail, and then you have the broader end, but the broader end on this tool is sharp. It actually has a lot of sharpness to it, and it's still great for digging trail, but it's not good for digging trail where there's rocks. That is where you need a Pickmatic or a Pulaski. This tool is great as opposed to the Pickmatic, which is really good up valley on trails with more rocks and roots and that type of vegetation. This tool is great in Eagle, where there is generally just dust and organics and regular dry trail. So it performs a wide variety of uses compared to the Pulaski, the McLeod, and the Pickmatic. What I don't have pictures of here, oh, the next one, I have one more. There's a helmet. Remember, we are always wearing a helmet. They're in the bags. There's green ones, there's yellow ones, there's white ones with Adopt-A-Trail logo. There are the ANSI certified, as we call out in our COVID agreement. Make sure that you always have a helmet on, especially if you're have overhead hazards such as trees and whatnot. So that's the end of my picture slideshow, but I'll touch on a couple other tools that we do have in the sheds, but generally most teams, especially new teams, are not going to touch. And more, if they do, it will be with a Ranger. And we have some technical tools such as rock bars, which are super heavy, but are very efficient in moving large rocks. We have some webbing, which allows multiple people to pick up rocks at a time. We have some mini sledgehammers, which are generally more for technical rock work and creating rock armoring projects for creek crossings. And we have a couple other one-off, almost like that Rogue Proho in the sheds as well, with wider, sharper heads that function more of a digging tool, but again, not with rocks. But again, there are not many of those tools. You generally will not be touching those. Therefore, specific projects, a little bit more technical projects. So I think that's about it. Any other tools that I may have missed? Kat, Paula, Michelle, anyone?
No, just a reminder, if you do check out tools, as the team leader, especially if you're working independently, make sure to bring those same tools back. The silky saws are notorious for walking away. It's easy, they're small, you know, people will take them home on accident. So if you check out 4, bring home 4. And if you do forget or lose or anything, it's fine, just let us know so we can keep track of our inventory. On the dry erase boards in the future, you can add notes to your checkout thing and say, hey, by the way, this broke while we were out there. Oh, we didn't talk about damaged tools. If you have a damaged tool, guys, we used to mark things. Maybe if it's damaged, set it away, like off. If there's a lot of tools in there, which I don't think there would be in the cleaning shed, set it off to the side so the rangers notice that something's wrong with it. And feel free to email me or just write a note on the whiteboard saying, hey, by the way, left one split handle Pulaski in the shed, something like that, so we know. I think that's about it. Anything else, guys? So since it's the new guys only that are still on this call, there's no stupid questions. Anything you can think of, feel free to type them in now, and we can address that. Otherwise, I want to thank you guys for your time. I'm real excited about this season. Get your dates to me anytime. I'm going away this weekend, so if you send me something in the next day or so, it might not get a reply until Monday, sorry. Otherwise, anything else?
Real quick, I'll say Clay asked a question earlier. You're having some issues or questions with the website, and it might help answer a lot of other people's questions. So instead of you typing it out, Clay, I'll allow you to ask those verbally here if you don't mind.
Thank you. I don't really have any specific questions. I was just thinking ahead while I'm in the website and I'm trying to set some stuff up, if I have any questions, I was just wondering who to direct those to.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, and to Michelle at adoptatrail@vvmta.org or myself, Ernest, at vvmta.org, we'll be able to answer all those.
Perfect.
So I hope you guys don't find this intimidating. It sounds like a lot. As a new team, you guys are under supervision potentially all summer. If you go out with Ernest, Halsey, or Clayton, you guys are going to be kind of, they're going to hold your hand through the whole thing. They're going to teach you how to lead a crew, how to be safe out there. As far as paperwork, you guys are not responsible for doing paperwork except for all the signatures that you will be collecting before that event. And you won't have to do the digital log after. Maybe the first time one of the guys will do it for you, but then the second time they'll say, hey, don't forget, you have to go to this website, fill it out. These are the things you need to remember. So they'll kind of walk you through how to become independent. We're not just going to throw you into independency, but I think the goal is to get there, and you guys should be fine with it pretty quick. Anything else? Right on. 2020 is going to be a good year. It can only get better, right? So hopefully we'll see you guys out there soon. Email me with any questions. If there's any part of what you've seen today that you want in like a single page form, like the check-in, check-out, whatever, let me know. I can get that to you individually. We'll be sharing this webinar with the link with you so you can pass it on. And if we missed you for the original, we're glad you're caught up now. And that's it. So thank you all. We appreciate your time. You can run away now. Sunny, gorgeous, go.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.